Hey guys, it's Jen from JCT Rustic Homestead, and today I wanted to talk to you about scammers and spammers. And I have almost fallen victim to a scammer, and I know that several other people just don't even know what to look for. And anymore, it's kind of always in the back of my mind, because as much as we like to think people are good people and have good intentions, there just aren't those people in the world. So my first potential victimization, I guess you could call it, which is a really harsh word to me, was I was trying to sell a horse on an online site that I'd never had problems with before, and somebody contacted me interested in the horse. And then they wanted to send like a money order and send a shipper, and it was not an expensive horse. It was a fairly cheap horse. And they were way out of state, and things just didn't seem right. And finally, I told the guy to please call me. I wanted to discuss the transaction. Never called me. He said he would send some sort of mail order or money order or something like that. And I finally said, if you are a real person, contact me. If you are just a scammer, go get a real job and stop cheating people out of money. No joke. That was like one of the first times I ever stood up for myself and was harsh with somebody. Needless to say, they never contacted me back. But people don't know what to look for in some scams, spam email. And when you are a farmer and you're dealing with newsletters and websites and Facebook, it's really easy to get into that trap. The scammers are becoming more and more savvy. Once in a while, my personal email is through Yahoo. I've had it for almost 20 years. And I will get, Yahoo, your account's going to be closed. And really, it's just a junk email. They're trying to hack into your email. They're trying to get your contacts, and it is just a mess. And if you have an email newsletter to your customers, you do not want that person getting a hold of your customer list. That is a very scary thing. And hopefully you're running your email subscriptions through an external host like MailChimp or Constant Contact, or there's other ones that I can't even remember right now. So they should be safe. But if for some reason you have those contacts in your Gmail or Yahoo account or something like that, and you click on the wrong thing, your email is liable to get, it won't necessarily happen, but it is potentially going to get hacked. They might get a hold of your contacts and start sending them a similar email, and they're going to think it's from you, which they think is a legitimate, honest source. And while you can apologize and tell them what's going on, it just creates extra work for you. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I think farmers are overly more concerned with their product, their garden, their fields, their livestock. And I get that. There are some days where I don't want to turn on the computer, I don't want to look at Facebook, I don't want to update our website, but that's part of my business and my branding. If you are a farmer that has a really active newsletter, like a couple hundred, you just need to be aware of some of these things. They're not difficult, but you just need to have it in the back of your mind. And I want to educate people, because there's a older generation that doesn't know anything about computers, but they still have these things. They still have their newsletter subscribers. They still have their website. They still have their Facebook page. And while they may not be the most tech savvy, it's going to benefit you to see where these pitfalls are, to keep your subscribers safe and to keep your business safe and give you less hassle. So we're going to look at the instance that Colton and I almost fell into last night. We were talking about getting another greenhouse because I am overrunning the current greenhouse. It's about 6 by 9, so this would have been 10 by 12, and it was a super cheap price. It looked like a great deal, but we're going to go into that and see why we stopped. And then I'm going to try to show you something that you can look for in your emails before you ever click on a link. Don't ever click on a link unless you know it's a legitimate source. And there's a very easy way for you to tell if it is a scam, spam, hacker thing. All right, so we're going to switch into the computer and I'm going to show you a few things.
All right, here's our first example. This is an ad that you would normally find on your Facebook feed. It's a company that I'm familiar with. It's been a good company for us, but if you haven't scrolled through Facebook and noticed things, this is something you can start to look for when you're looking at products and not diving into a bad deal. So you can see this ad, but check out a couple other things. One, up at the top under the name, there is a place that says sponsored. That just means that that company has paid Facebook to run this particular ad through a news feed. And every ad will be different based on your scrolling history, your search history and stuff. So I've been looking up more farmer things, so I have more farmer related ads popping up. So the sponsored part just means that they paid to run their ad on the Facebook thing. It's not their Facebook page. It's usually linking it to an outside website. So if we look at this picture, you'll see how below where that black arrow is pointing, how it says compeer.com. And that is the website that if you click on it, it will take you to. So the top had the sponsored and then the bottom had the website. And usually, not every time, the name at the top of the page will be the same or similar to that website link at the bottom of the page. But I do want to show you a legitimate ad that is different. So we're looking at this Growing Farmers with Michael Kilpatrick, and I do know that this is a legitimate source because I follow his group and looked up some of his things. I recognize the people in the picture, but that can sometimes help lure you in. But notice how the title is different from the website in the middle. Michael Kilpatrick does govern the Thriving Farmer Summit, so that's why it's a little different. He has several different sites that he's producing. And then if we look at this next one, notice how the top title, the middle website, and that bottom website, again, they're slightly different. Now, like I said, I do know that this is a legitimate link, so it is okay, but I just want you to notice that there are some differences. You can see this from your phone or your computer. You just have to watch a little bit. Once in a while, when things don't match, that should give you a red flag. All right, so here we are at a site that Colton and I found. We saw this greenhouse in one of those Facebook sponsored ads, and it says it's $129.99. Originally $529.99, so it's on a huge sale. Free shipping up here for orders over $39. Looking through the pictures, they have a video. The pictures are really appealing. The specs are really appealing. It's a good size for what we were thinking. And it was just, we almost bought this, to be honest. But then I started looking at a few things that were kind of red flags. One, that's a lot of different kinds of products. Usually only places like Amazon and Overstock have all these different kinds of products. Two, if you look up here at the website name, also called the URL, it says balewine.com, but the header says YYPPLK, and that seemed really strange to me. So one of the first things I said was, why is it the website is balewine.com, but the name of the site says YYPPLK? So I tried to look for some information within the website. I went to the About page, and we'll load it and head there. A nice photo, still says YYPPLK. And the About Us just seemed off to me. The name here itself is something that nobody's really going to remember. That's not a memorable name. It's a very strange name. it just seemed off. What they were talking about, we love every passion and interest on the earth. That is a really broad mission statement. Custom collection for every profession, hobby, sport, passion, or anything you might think of. That is, it just seems off. So then I went to the contact us page, and that's when another big red flag happened. So if we look at the contact page, there's no area to submit a contact form, question, or anything like that. There's a phone number, but usually with companies, you're going to have an 800 number. Especially when you have so many products, you would get tons of customer service calls. You're going to want an 800 number. The 815 is the Chicago area and our area, really, but that should be an 800 number. And then the email was way weird to me. That is not a typical email. That may be somebody's personal email, but even if it still said Gmail, it should have that YPPLK involved in the email, or contact at yypplk.com. It should not have somebody's name as the email, especially when you're branding your product and trying to form that continuity between all your media platforms. You want the website name up here in the URL. You want your website header right here where it says YYPPLK. You want your email address. You want that to match as much as possible. You could have like your email address as your personal name as the farmer or something, because people will recognize your name, hopefully. But you want some things to match on here. And that seemed really strange to me, especially since the deal seemed too good to be true. So I did a Google search for that YYPPLK company, and I came up with, is it a legit online source? YouTube had a video, but I didn't click on it. It was only updated 2 days ago from when I'm filming this. It says, is it a scam or legitimate? Not even the website itself is ranked at the top, and it should be if I'm searching for the direct name. It should be up here in one of the first couple places. None of these websites really seemed like honest websites, to be honest with you. That's a lot of honest. But then down here it says it's a fake online store. Online shoppers run the risk of receiving counterfeit goods or nothing at all, and immediately said, nope, not going to happen. So, thankfully, we started looking into deeper things to see whether or not this item was legitimate, and it wasn't, unfortunately. When I did a search for the actual item, $2,500. That is an expensive greenhouse, and there's no way we could have gotten it for $130. So, thankfully, we avoided that. But there's one more thing I want to show you guys, and it's in my spam folder of my regular email. This is my personal email because it's the only place I could really find spam. And this is my spam folder, but sometimes this will be what your inbox looks like. And if you have an email, even like this Apple email, I have an iPhone, so I get Apple update notifications and security notifications and stuff. But when I hover over this one, and it says my Apple has been suspended, which is really scary if you have an Apple account. But when I hover over it, notice how that box pops up, and that is the actual email address. And that is not an Apple email address. That is a spam email address. So the only reason it's not black like these is because I'm going to click on it and show you what the inside of it says, because it does look like kind of a good email. Apple ID, support, privacy policy. I can't click on a lot of things because my spam flagged it and is closing it. There's the Apple icon, but you can get that from online anywhere. This, once again, there's the email, and that is not a legitimate email address. So anytime you see that kind of email address, bad, stay away from it. If this button were clickable, which right now I can't, I'm guessing because of my spam filters, in the lower left-hand corner, like right over here, there would be a pop-up similar to what shows up next to the cursor, but you leave your cursor on the button that you would click and look in that lower left-hand corner and says the website that it would lead you to. If it were an apple.com website, in this email case, that would be something I would consider going to, depending on how much fluff was after that. If it's a mumbo jumbo website like this, if it starts getting super long, stay away from it. That is a spam email. They are trying to hack into your email. And if you have client and customer emails in your email account, that's really dangerous for them to get a hold of. As soon as you click on that button, they will try to catch all your contacts, and then they will start sending emails to them even through your email. So it will look like an email that's coming from you, but in reality, it's them spamming them with the same thing that you got sent. They would send something similar to this with a button that would lead them to a bad source, a bad website. And as honest and as reputable as you may be as a farmer, that is not always a good reputation to have. So what happens if that does happen to you? What should you do? Well, first, one thing I check, if I accidentally clicked on something, I go to my sent folder. I'm not going to go there because I have some personal emails in there, but I go to my sent folder and I go through my list of sent emails to see if I actually sent them. Did I send check us out on Tuesday, or, if there are emails that you don't remember sending and you read through them and you did not send them, or your spouse, if you share an email account, that was probably a hacked email. That's probably somebody that got a hold of your contact list, is in your email account sending emails under your name. So the second thing after checking your sent folder is to change your email password. If I ever suspect that my email has been hacked, I immediately change my password. And you can't just make it something simple like password or 1234556. You do need to make it a little more complicated and write it down, because we have so many passwords these days, so many logins, that you need to keep track of it. And if something happens where somebody else needs to get into your accounts for one reason or another, you need to have that piece of paper or whatever it is with access so they can get in there and check things. But, change your email password. If it got a hold, if the scammers, spammers, whatever you want to call them, did send emails out to your customers, I would just send a brief email. It doesn't have to be really involved, just saying, we apologize for the inconvenience. We have been spammed. Please disregard. Email titled, whatever the email was titled, and the issue has been remedied. We look forward to your business in the future, or, something like that. Come up with something catchy. You don't have to go into all the reasons why. Just say, disregard this email. We look forward to working with you again. Short, to the point. They don't need a lot of information, at least not in my opinion. So another thing I want to point out is I don't want this to discourage you from doing your own newsletter or website or anything. I don't mean to do this kind of video to scare you from or keep you from doing online business, because it is growing. It's becoming a huge facet of farming business, even the regular farming business. So do consider doing your email subscriptions and websites, but just be aware that these little things to catch are there. Look for that URL name to match the header. It doesn't always, but a lot of times it will. Look at the about page on a website. If you're not familiar with the website, look at the about page. Learn about the company. Make sure that it's reputable, that it seems like something to work with, and look for some of these key things I pointed out.
Okay, so I hope you learned something. I hope I didn't scare you too much or make it too confusing. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, or my email is below in the info for the video. To me, they're really simple because I've had to look for them for years. I deal more with computers, especially in my regular work. I work a full-time job when I'm not under a stay in place or whatever. but I know it's not second nature for a lot of people to look at it, look for these signs. But I want farmers to be educated, not just about their crop or their livestock, I want them to know some of the behind the scenes, to realize that there is more than just the outside work. You do have to put in some work into your computer and online presence, especially if you're direct to consumer. Some people are just a local farmers market, and that's absolutely fine. But if you're looking to get into a newsletter subscription or a website or anything else, just be aware that these things are out there, and I don't want them to hurt you. So I hope you learned something. If you liked this, consider subscribing, liking, sharing the video, especially with your farmer friends. But this really can apply to anybody. This can apply to someone who just has an email account and you know that they don't know a lot about clicking on the wrong link. You know, we hear about senior victimization with grandkids calling them needing money in Mexico. You know, this is kind of along the same lines. Unfortunately, not everybody is honest, and so we have to be a little more careful and a little more watchful. So I hope this helps you. I hope you're not scared of starting your or continuing your newsletter or website or whatever online thing you're doing. Also, let me know if you do have a newsletter or website and how you're planning on growing that, because I also would like to learn from you as well. So stay tuned. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to do a why Wednesday. I have a why question, and I thought I would tie it to a Wednesday for the W's, and we'll see how that works. I got some more research to do before I can film that video, but I hope everyone's staying safe and having a great day, and we'll catch you later.